Have you joined our new Facebook group yet? Just search for the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show and join the conversation. It's the only place online where you can interact with me and just about every guest we've had on the show. We are all there to help. Whether you have questions or want to share your story, the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show Facebook group is the place you'll be surrounded by fellow canyon crazies who want to make sure everyone has their best possible experience at the Grand Canyon. We hope to see you there.
The canyon is very doable in the summer if you plan correctly, if you train correctly, if you're healthy. You can do the canyon in the summer.
Well, if you're going to hike in the heat, you need to be ready for the heat. My name is Brian Special, and this is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show presented by Bright Angel Outfitters. Already in 2024, we have had 4 hiker deaths in the canyon. And while the causes aren't official, it's fair to assume that heat played a role in some, if not all of them. And that is something that can be preventable. You already know that hiking in the canyon during the warmer months is not advised, not by the park, not by this show, not by anyone. It's simply too hot and too dangerous. But that, of course, doesn't mean that folks aren't going to do it. Summer, after all, is tourist season all around the world, and circumstance might dictate that that's the only time you can do it. And that's okay, as long as you're prepared and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. It is possible to acclimate yourself to hiking in the heat, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of mental fortitude. And that's where trouble can be born. Too often, we want to take the easy way out, to say perhaps, yeah, I'll just deal with it when I get there. That kind of thinking, though, can be a death wish. You simply must know what you're in for. Scorching temperatures, relentless sun exposure, and conditions at the bottom that can rival the hottest places on the planet. Direct sun in the box, for instance, you could be looking at temperatures well north of 130 degrees with nowhere to hide. So today, I asked our resident exercise physiologist, Coach Arnie Fonseca Jr., to come on and discuss ways to prepare your body and your mind for hiking in the heat. Now, during our conversation, you'll hear Coach Arnie refer to Black Mountain. He's talking about our little hell climb here in Cave Creek, Arizona. It's where Arnie and I met, and it's where both of us do our Grand Canyon training almost exclusively, because while it's only 1.1 miles from the parking lot, it gains almost 1,200 feet in elevation and is rocky and nasty, making it steeper and rougher than anything we'll encounter on the corridor trails. We love it, and I just wanted to give you some context when you hear Arnie mention it. All right, here now is that conversation with Coach on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show presented by Bright Angel Outfitters. All right, Arn, I've figured some things out since the last time we talked, and I've told you all about the horrible experiences that I've had in the heat myself last July, and then back in June, just a few weeks ago, where I feel like the cumulative effect of the heat caught up with me, and it led to just kind of having to crawl out of the canyon. And I finally figured out that you have to do things differently in the heat. And I kid you not, I've lived in Arizona almost my whole life. You know how ridiculously, obscenely hot it is here for 6 months out of the year. For whatever reason, it never occurred to me that your performance was going to be affected by the heat. And so I would push myself and push myself and push myself, and my times would go down. They'd get worse, not better. They'd go up, I should say. They would get worse, and I would be like, I wouldn't understand it. I would think it was something that I was doing. So I'd push harder and make it even worse, and then you get frustrated. You don't want to keep your time anymore. That's what would happen to me over and over and over again. But the heat plays a significant role in your performance, doesn't it?
Big time. I mean, Brian, I've been coaching and performing my whole life here in Arizona. Back in my day in the 70s, we didn't have water. When I played high school football, there was no water. There was ice, and you had to have permission.
You had to be a tough guy.
You didn't. We didn't know the difference. There was no water. So, but it was always hot. So, and we just dealt with it because it's like, does a fish know it's wet? It's hot. Okay. So you just deal with it. And then now I'll give you a for instance. When I was doing triathlons, I would get freaked out when I was checking out the weather and I saw it was going to be close to 90. I'm like, oh man, it's going to get hot out there today. and it would freak me out. So I let the weather kind of mess with my head. And this was probably 15 years ago. So I was probably close to your age, and I was still doing triathlons. I thought, yeah, am I going to let the weather own me? Because it would mentally mess with me a week or two out as I'm tracking the weather. And then when I got into ultra adventure stuff and then eventually the Grand Canyon, I thought to myself, wait a minute. No, I'm not going to allow the weather to control me again. I want to figure this thing out. Look, I'm an exercise physiologist. This is like putting puzzles together. So I started to look at this whole thing. It really came to a head for me when I did my first 100 here in Arizona, and it was a record heat day on October 31st. I mean, it was like 110 degrees, and I got roasted. I made it, but I tell you what, the next year I said that will never happen again. So that's when so that was probably when maybe 2017, and I really got smart about learning how to get heat adapted. Okay, if I'm going to do a race like that, I never wanted again for the weather, the heat, to be the issue. I wanted my body, my mind, my training, my coaching. I wanted all of that to do what it was supposed to do. So coming back to your original thought, what was going on here? Well, what's going on physiologically is heat is like getting a gut punch. You can do whatever you want, but the weather is going to dictate what you're going to do. If it's super cold, you're slowing down. If it's super hot, you're slowing down. You just have to know that. The key is how much can you take before you have to significantly slow down. That's the key. So then you got to know your canyon trip. If you're doing a rim to river, rim to rim, rim to rim to rim, how much of the heat are you willing to take? How much of a gut punch are you willing to take? And that's where I said to myself, I'm not doing that. And I know now more and more people talk about it, so do you. But in 2018, I thought to myself, because I went to a couple people, and I said, I'm going to do a summer trip. It was in August. And everybody said, no, you can't do that. I go, no. I'm going to go at night. I'm going to start late afternoon. I'm going to go all night long. And I'm going to finish as early in the morning as I possibly can up Bright Angel. When I did it with Bright Angel. And they go, oh, man, I don't know about that. It sounds really dangerous and all this stuff. Long story short, it was a terrible trip because I relied on somebody, but I learned a lot. Number one thing I learned is it's very doable. The canyon is very doable in the summer if you plan correctly, if you train correctly, if you're healthy, you can do the canyon in the summer. But, and you and I have talked about this, you're going to miss something. You're going to miss something. I went all night long.
You're going to miss seeing something.
I went all night long, and I like doing that now because I can get in and out of there before noon on Saturday and be home for dinner on Saturday night. So I was okay with that. You know why? And you keep bringing this up. I live here. The canyon's not going anywhere. Now, I understand that people want to experience this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but is it worth your life?
Yeah, that's why the best time to do the canyon in the summer is to not do the canyon in the summer.
Right. If you want to see the canyon, Brian is exactly right. You don't go in the summer because you're going to miss something. Unless you are, and I have to say this because I never tell anybody no, and I've told this to Brian so many times. Unless you are a super fit, healthy athlete, experienced, know what you're doing, have been in the heat, have trained for heat, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, have trained for all of it, know what to do, have contingencies, you've got it all nailed, you've got it all, it's in the books. And I know those guys, and they do it. And they do okay. Is it their best effort? No, because the heat is still a gut punch at whatever level you're at. It's going to punch you in the gut. So back to your statement, your times are going to go down because rarely do people set world records in the heat. Jim Walmsley did not go in the middle of summer to freaking run the Grand Canyon. Okay?
5 hours and 55 minutes, rim to rim to rim.
No, he's not going to do that because he understands what's going on. Exactly. So it's all about what do you want to do, and now let's plan, let's prepare, and practice.
Well, you said it, Arnie. You said heat adapted. You can make yourself heat adapted. And I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. That's not something I even understood, and I'm only now starting to understand it after getting kicked in the gut a couple of times on summer rim to rims, where I came back and I'm like, you know what, this isn't going to happen again. So I've started going out mid-morning, late morning, afternoon here in Phoenix, going, I'm going to figure out how to do this, and I'm taking, I take my water with me, which I wouldn't do when it's nice out. I take my Frog Tog cooling towels, which I think are absolute game changers, and I'm just practicing going slow, which I think is probably the biggest key. Going slow. I've got my cooling towels on. I've got my bucket hat on, and I'm going slow, and I'm doing things that I would not normally do if it was the nice time of the year. So it is possible to get yourself heat adapted.
Absolutely. And so me, I was in my 50s, and I go, I'm going to figure this out, because before I could just get away with, I'm training hard, I'm healthy, I'm fit, let's go. But that's not most people here. Let's be honest. So we have to be honest here. So what do? You get heat adapted.
But is that even enough? Even if you're in great shape, you still have to be trained in the heat, don't you?
No, it's not enough. The number one criteria that everybody I talk to, are you healthy? If you're not healthy, you may have to skip your canyon trip.
So your baseline, your foundation.
Absolutely. If you're not healthy, you're asking for it. You've got to be healthy. And then you put together a plan. Okay, your plan might be, I want to do a summer, because we're all off, family's off, and that's another issue. But the family's off. We're going to go in July, whatever, and here we go. So we've got 3 months. All right, what do I got to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is wherever I'm at, if I have some heat, I'm going to get out in it. I'm going to practice. I'm going to get out in the heat. I'm going to move around once I'm healthy, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a place that has a dry sauna. I'm going to find a dry sauna. A lot of gyms have them now. Some people have them themselves. But you find...
You're listening in Finland, you're in good shape.
Yeah. You find a dry sauna, and you start getting in that sauna a couple times a week, and I would... minimum a month to 6 weeks out, I would be in that thing 3 times a week, 20 minutes, about 180 degrees.
What are you doing, just sitting?
Just sitting. Bring in some water.
And that's adapting your body?
That will scientifically adapt your body to heat. It just flat out works.
So what if it's hot outside and you live in the Midwest or something? It's a disgusting July day and you're trying to train.
You can.
Is it worth just sitting outside, just being in the heat? Is that going to help you just being in it and not necessarily exercising in
100%. Let me tell you why. I haven't been using sauna lately because other issues. But so I started my heat training. Well, you see me. I started my heat training probably 6 weeks ago. I had done a canyon trip, and it started getting hot here in May, right? Mid-May, let's say. I've been out there every Saturday, and I've been ready, especially when it's supposed to be really hot. I've been ready with extra water, been dialed in with everything I need, and because I do reps up and down Black Mountain. And I'll be honest with you, every time I stop now, when I'm done, after 6, 7, 8 hours, I tell myself, I could keep going. This Saturday was the best Saturday and was supposed to be the hottest. And I go, I could keep going.
And when we say hot, folks, we're talking 115 to 118. It's been in Phoenix this past week.
But I could have kept going.
That's incredible.
So what I'm telling myself is, I'm heat adapted. I'm there. I don't feel it like I did a month ago or 6 weeks ago. So by going out there every week, and I don't do daily training, guys. This is Coach Arnie. I'm out there once a week heavy, and then I do a really light workout right after that, just kind of barefoot, kind of loosen things up in the morning, so it's not super hot. But this is me at 65 telling you that if you just will get out there consistent, you got to be consistent, weekly, get out there, and you got to get it in, whether it's an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, build up, okay? Now, the sauna, which is why it's gold, it speeds up the process because it's 180 degrees. I can get in it 20 minutes, and you can, in a month's time, you can get heat adapted, guys. So if you're serious about this, and you're serious about doing your canyon trip, and you're serious about being that guy or that lady that wants to do it whenever you want to do it, get your butt heat adapted. Use a sauna. Find a sauna and get out and practice. And now we're talking about, now we've created a baseline. Okay, so we're healthy, heat adapted. Now, the next thing is, what is my hydration electrolytes going to look like? Because the heat will change everything. The number one mistake people make is over drinking. You start guzzling water, your body's going to want more water. You're going to throw off your electrolytes. You're going to be a mess. So you have to practice drinking when you're hot.
When you're thirsty.
Yeah, so you drink to your thirst. That's a guy named Tim Noakes, Dr. Tim Noakes. He's great. He wrote The Law of Running, a brilliant exercise physiologist. You drink when you're thirsty, if you're thirsty. But if you guzzle...
Let's land on that for a second, because you do hear people say the common conventional wisdom is if you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. But that leads to all kinds of problems, doesn't it? Because like you're saying, if you drink too much just to drink, you're throwing off your electrolytes. Yep. That can lead to hyponatremia, which is water intoxication, and then you can be in even bigger trouble than if you're...
Well, not only that, but mentally. Because, see, your body is an amazing machine, guys.
How's a hiking pack with a fully insulated water compartment to keep everything cool and a collection of 6 pockets and pouches on the front shoulder strap sound? Too good to be true? Well, it kind of is. The 22-liter rim-to-rim pack from Bright Angel Outfitters is now available. This is the pack designed through my hundreds of miles below the rim, but it's made for any day hike on Earth. The rim-to-rim pack from Bright Angel Outfitters is available exclusively at brightangeloutfitters.com, and its sales directly support this show. At Bright Angel Outfitters, we exist to help you hike your best hike.
Your body has some built-in protective mechanisms here. One is thirst. If you drink a lot, you will want to drink more. If you don't drink a lot, you won't want to drink. So that's good and bad. So how do you get around that? You have to, there's something called a governor. It's in your brain. You have to practice using your governor, okay? It's like a governor on a car that's going too fast. It'll slow you down. So you have to practice. I'm in my hike. I'm doing a 2-hour hike. It's 100 degrees out. It's hot. You get into a rhythm of drinking water when you are thirsty instead of just drinking down 1 liter when you get thirsty. And then you're kind of screwed. That's not a plan, okay? Drinking 10 ounces, 10 ounces, 10 ounces, 10 ounces. Pretty soon, 2, 3, 4 hours later, you've gone through 2, 3 liters of fluids. Now your body is using that properly. Your electrolyte. I use salt. That's all I use. I use Redmond salt. I do carry extra, but the last few years of practice, I just put Redmond salt in my water.
And that's your electrolyte.
That's my electrolyte. But I practice with it. And I'm not saying I never have cramps, but I'm out there sometimes pushing myself to that level of cramp. Because cramps, it's very unscientific. There's anybody that thinks they're an expert in cramps, they're not, okay? Because normally it's a matter of your fitness level. If you go beyond your fitness level, and that goes back to your original statement, you get out in the heat and you've been training and you're thinking, man, I'm going to do this mountain in an hour. And you're like going, man, it's taking me longer than an hour. Yeah, because it's hot. So you have to go, the heat is going to dictate where your fitness is. And so you've got to slow down. You don't challenge the canyon. The canyon never loses. The canyon is undefeated. Stop it. Quit trying to challenge the canyon. You know, every time I've tried to challenge the canyon, when I had a bad filtering experience one time, and I had a stomach issue one time, and the canyon won every time, okay? So every time I just go, it's like being a dancer. You're going to dance with the canyon. Dance with what you came with. If you came to the canyon in an unhealthy state, Brian, if you came to the canyon when it was hot, if you came to the canyon with a bad plan, starting at wrong time, doing all these things, that's the dance you're bringing.
Do you ascribe to the whole hike wet philosophy?
Yeah. If you're in that situation, because I hike wet, I don't purposely soak my whole body like you did at the
I did in the river.
In
yeah.
the river.
Felt great.
Which I'm sure it did. But I wear things that I wrap around my neck. My T-shirt gets nice and wet. I don't purposely get drenched because I have a plan. So I'm going through there. If the wheels start coming off, that's a contingency. Get wet. Okay? But I soak my hat. If I'm wearing a hat at night, I'm not usually wearing a hat.
Take advantage of the water, even if you're not going to get all the way in.
But I still,
soak things.
If I'm wearing something on my head for my headlamp, I'm wetting my head. Okay? When there's the area that crosses the trail there that goes across, I always stop there. I take my neck thing off, I wrap it, get it all wet, put it on, and get wet. It feels good, cool down, because I know Cottonwood's right around the corner, and if the water's running there, I can get more water there. So, and I know I'm getting close because I can hear that river start pounding. You got to have a plan, and if you don't have a plan, this is where things get really haywire, because once you get overheated, Brian, your brain doesn't work right. It just doesn't. And people make mistakes. And I'll guarantee you, we've all seen these movies. When you get overheated, because I know what it's like to be down there, guys, and your brain is not working. Mine was through sleep deprivation. It's scary. I mean, it's a freak show. So I can only imagine if you're down there and you're inexperienced and you're hot, you're dehydrated because you've drank so much water. And remember, when you're drinking water like that and your electrolytes are off, you're going to get dehydrated. Because you're going to be hypernatremic.
Yeah.
And you're going to
water intoxicated.
Yeah. And so you're going the other way, which is worse.
It can be just as dangerous.
Yeah.
We've talked about the water, drink when you're thirsty. Mm-hmm. You talked a little bit about electrolytes there. They use the Redmond salt.
Yeah.
What would you recommend, though, for someone who is coming to the canyon for the first time? Maybe they're not used to dealing with all the electrolytes. You've got the drink mixes, which a lot of people use. I used that in the beginning. I don't like using it anymore. It's too sweet. It's too sticky. It's too much of a hassle to mix in your water bottles. I've gone to the Salt Stick Chews and electrolyte capsules because they're just easier to deal with. But what is it? What do you recommend? And when you use salt, what do you mean? You use the Redmond salt? Is it just pure salt?
I carry a thing of salt in my pouch.
Really?
And I have a 1/8 tablespoon scooper, and every time I fill up, I throw that in that 24 ounces of water.
Does it make the water salty at all?
Nope. Perfect.
Really?
Because I practice with it.
Yeah.
I practice with it. Get it?
So you're mixing the 1/8 of a tablespoon of salt into a 24-ounce bottle, and you're going through how many of those?
I will probably go through 3, maybe. For sure 2 in 9 miles.
And that's all the water. You don't bring a bladder or a reservoir.
No.
You just carry the bottles.
I know what I'm going to use. I practice. If you're somebody just coming to the canyon, you have no idea what you're doing, salt is always a great option because, I've heard all kind of great things about Liquid IV, Element, the Chews, Salt Stick. I have all different kind of electrolytes at my house. I carry a bag of 10 or 12 or more when I'm at the canyon. I got them in case something really bad happens. Because what I do with cramping, Brian, if you take this is another little trick. If you take an electrolyte tablet and you start cramping, if you sprinkle it on your tongue, it'll break that electric current, and a lot of times your cramp will stop. But if you're severely dehydrated or you're severely beat up because of your health and your fitness, you're probably in trouble. And what's going to save you is stopping and resting. That's what's going to save you. The problem is, are you pushing to a goal? Do you have to be at a certain spot at a certain time?
Hope not.
Are you in a group that's pushing you to go beyond your physical capabilities? Because these are all the things that happen. And when I hear these things, I just scratch my head going, okay, what are your contingencies here? What are you going to do? Because everybody has a breaking point. I have a breaking point. You have a breaking point. Everybody listening to this has a breaking point. Do you want to find your breaking point in the canyon? I have done that, but I was ready. I don't want anybody here that's a rookie to go to the canyon and find out what your breaking point is. That's why throw those time goals away and be realistic. Go there and have fun. If you're going to make a choice and do something in the summer and you don't want to miss anything, then you just better prepare.
Just accept the fact that your goal is to finish.
You finish.
Your goal is to walk out of there. It's not a time goal.
It's not a time goal.
Go slow.
Go slow.
Go slow.
Here's what I've learned from the heat, Brian. Slow down.
Yeah.
You said it early on.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to slow down. Yes, you did. But you have to purposely.
You do.
So if you're listening to this and you're going this summer, or you're going to go in the heat, or you're going to do any kind of hike in the heat, and you're in it, do yourself a favor. And do Brian a favor, because I don't think he wants to keep doing shows on people dying.
Yeah, right.
But just slow down. If you slow down, you're going to do so much better. You're going to let your body recover. You're going to be able to think a little clearer. You won't make silly mistakes. You'll be able to monitor how much you're drinking. You'll be able to take in the electrolytes appropriately. And then you'll listen to your body. That's a big one, too. Just listening to your body.
So when it comes to electrolytes,
yes,
I think the answer is whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Whatever you practice with, whatever works for you. If it's drink mixes, fine. If it's the tablets, the salt chews, fine. If it's regular salt, fine. If it's salty snacks, fine, right?
Anything.
As long as you're getting something.
As long as you're working with it, because any of those things work. Salty snacks, pretzels, all that stuff, jerky. I've done it all. I practiced with it all, and I've refined it down to what I do now.
Let me ask you this. This is a first world problem.
Yeah.
But before we get into the food part of,
Yeah.
of hiking the canyon, I never feel like eating, even on the great days. When it comes to drinking, what do you do in the summer when your water just is warm and borderline hot and just nasty? Nobody wants to drink that stuff, man. Do you have any solutions for that?
No.
No.
I don't.
This gives me an opportunity for a shameless little plug, but it's valuable. The Rim to Rim pack that we have out right now from Bright Angel Outfitters has a fully insulated hydration pocket for your bladder, for your snacks, whatever it is. If you put some ice in there, if you put some, maybe you put some ice cubes in your bladder, and then you put those ice packs that you freeze overnight, you put those in there with it. Yeah. I've had water be cold all the way down to the river. It is going to get warm eventually, but it lasts a lot longer if you do it that way.
It really comes down to practice, guys. If you're out there going on a long hike and you got water in your bladder, and you're out there for 3 hours, your water's going to get warm, okay?
And you're not going to want to drink it, but you got to figure out how to
you got to drink your water.
Yeah.
You got to drink your water. But if you're one of these people that's going to freeze your pack, which is fine, right? You do that. You freeze your pack. You go out there, but at some point you're not going to have a frozen pack.
Yeah, it's going to get warm at some point. And on a long hike like that. Okay, let's talk about nutrition.
Yeah.
Last thing we're going to kind of talk about here. But maybe the most important thing, because you've got to fuel your body no matter what the circumstances are. You could be, on a hike in the most beautiful conditions possible, and if you're on mile 15 or so on a canyon hike, you're not going to feel like eating. At least that's been my experience. Yeah. It's hard. You got to force yourself to eat, even more so when it's not top of mind, when you're dealing with the heat and keeping yourself hydrated and keeping your electrolytes in balance. So what do you do when it comes to eating?
You really want to know? I don't eat. I don't eat.
Okay. This is going to be great advice, everybody.
Okay, no.
But it's because you practice.
I practice it. I actually,
Don't do this. Don't do this
without practice, please. But my last canyon trip, an R3, at the end of April.
That's rim to rim to rim.
I did it with only taking on these little ketone things, which I have now really refined. And I've got a really slick plan that I'm going to put into play here for my summer trip.
Okay, but Arnie, you're doing rim to rim to rims. You're going to become the first guy to do rim to rim to rim to rim to rim in R5 at the age of 65.
So now
you're not normal.
I'm not normal.
Okay, so let's
I hear that every day from my wife. Yeah. So here's the thing. Listen,
what can normal people do?
I'm going to give you some normal thoughts. First of all, you need to practice with foods you're going to eat when it's hot. So don't get locked into thinking once you're on a hike for the first hour that you got to stuff your face. Take some fruit with you, like I have dates or honey. You might want to take an apple or a sandwich. I used to practice with sandwiches. I'd make a sandwich. I'd go for a long 5-hour hike, and I would make myself wait till 4 hours in before I eat that sandwich. I want to know how I felt in Phoenix, Arizona, on a hot day, eating a sandwich of whatever it might be, almond butter and honey or something. How was I going to taste?
I bet it was horrible.
Yeah, it depends. Or a banana, or whatever you think you're going to want to take and eat.
Bingo. That's the key, isn't it? Take what you think you're going to want to eat.
Bagels, if you want to be a bagel person, or a Cliff Bar, or any other kind of beef jerky, anything like that. All of that tastes wonderful the first hour of your hike. It all does. It all tastes great the next day after you're cleaning out your pack, too.
with most of the food that you brought.
Yeah.
It's still there.
But what's going to work for you when you're in 100 degrees, if you make the choice, when you get hot and you're going through hell, what is going to work? What's going to work? So you can either practice in it without the food. That's practice. Or you can put things in your gullet that you're going to deal with that day and be ready that it may not work. But the more you practice with it, if you feel you have to eat, then you're going to get better at it. And you'll figure out what works and doesn't work. I promise you. Whether it's dried fruit,
nuts,
trail
mix,
potato chips, I don't really care. It's your deal. Okay?
And you're going to bring too much no matter what, because we all do.
Always. I'm down to bringing very, very little.
Yeah.
Makes my pack a lot lighter.
Yeah, that does help, man.
It does help. And I don't have gut issues anymore, Brian. I really don't. I don't.
So what this all comes down to, the thing that I've taken away from this conversation more than anything else, when it comes to heat adaptation, when it comes to training, when it comes to your hydration, your electrolytes, your fuel intake, your food, it all comes down to that one word: practice. If you're going to do this in the summer, you've got to put the work in.
You do. Look, I sometimes come across as like, come on, because I'm a coach, I'm an athlete. I just want you to have a great trip. I'm going to give you all kind of advice. People call me all the time, and I go over their plan with them. I said, or we talk about it. I'll never tell you no, who's ever listening to this, but I want you to think. I want you to think, especially if you're in a group or you're doing what I would call a one-off adventure. I want you to think, because if you're going to be at the canyon, I know this place, and it can grab you and shake you like you can't believe, or it can embrace you and love you all the way to the finish. I just did a trip last May, middle of May, and it was beautiful. It was planned, it was prepared, and it was beautiful. But that same day, I saw people struggling because I know they didn't plan and prepare. And preparation is practice, guys. That's where you practice your food. You practice what you're going to take in for salt or salty things. And you just got to know your body. And if you don't know your body, it can be not good.
Which we've seen so far this year with an unprecedented 4 canyon deaths in the 3 weeks between June 16th and July 7th. 4. Now, we don't know they're all heat related. We don't know that. We usually don't find that out, honestly, until it ends up in Tom Myers and Michael Guglieri's book, Over the Edge, Death in Grand Canyon. But we can draw some pretty reasonable
And we want the Grand Canyon hiker dude to start doing more happy stories.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, happy stories.
Well, the happy stories are born out of knowing what not to do. So it's important for us to tell the dark stories, too, because we don't want anybody to end up like that, right?
I love talking to people that have an adventure in their heart that they want to make real. But let's do it right. Let's do it right.
That is Coach Arnie Fonseca Jr. His contact information is in the show notes, and that includes his phone number. Believe me, Coach Arnie wants to hear from you, and he's already heard from a lot of you, so keep it coming. Be safe out there, folks. The canyon heat is just no joke. Hey, please do check out brightangeloutfitters.com for tons of free resources aimed at helping you have your best canyon experience, including our Grand Canyon Shade Tracker, a must in the warmer months, to information-packed videos, our free ebook, A Beginner's Guide to Rim to Rim. You can find it all at brightangeloutfitters.com. While you're there, please have a look at the Rim to Rim pack and our collection of apparel, including the popular Victor Vomit t-shirt and an entire Rim to Rim collection. Again, that is at brightangeloutfitters.com. All right, that's it for now. My name is Brian Special, encouraging you, as always, to go hike the canyon. Take that first step, embrace the journey, and when you get there, whether it's for time goals or taking your time, just hike your own hike. Look around and enjoy all that is the splendor of the Grand Canyon. We'll see you next time on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, presented by Bright Angel Outfitters.